I'm Holly from Flow Movement Therapy, where we help active people with hard to resolve injuries get their lives back by helping them to move better. And today is the fourth video in my 4-video series on the most common things that people come to me for in clinic with foot issues. And today we're going to be talking about unresponsive feet, so feet that don't move at all, and how we can get them to move again. So we're going to talk a little bit about experiences to tell you whether you have those unresponsive feet, and then ways to start waking them up and getting them moving again. I'm also going to talk about why we want our feet to be able to move. So first off, we're going to talk about why it is that we want our feet to have movement in them. Well, our feet have a whole bunch of joints in them. They have pretty much the same kind of structures that we have in our hands. And I don't know about you, but my hands move quite a lot. And our hands are really useful to move a lot. If they don't move a lot, we're in trouble. But our feet have the same kinds of structures. So if you have really movie hands, we should have really movie feet. And it's true, we should. We should be able to have a lot of articulation in our feet. And the reason why that is our feet do two things for us. One is that they respond to the ground that we have underneath us. So we experience day-to-day very flat level floors all the time, and your feet go, oh, there's only one shape in life, and they don't get the experience of walking on very variable types of surfaces. And historically we would have had to. So our feet help us stay upright and mobile on very knobbly, weird, unusual sorts of surfaces underneath. So they do a great service for us. And if our feet aren't able to create those shapes, then they're not really doing the best possible job that they could for us. And they end up in pain, and we end up unstable and unable to keep our balance very well. So we want to maintain the suppleness and ability to move our feet so that we can create any sort of shape that we need to. If you walk on an uneven surface, we want to still have our balance. So we want to keep that ability to stay nice and supple and stable for the rest of our lives. The other thing is that our feet help move us along. And if they can only make one shape, they're immobile, then they're not helping us move. And there's an amazing mechanism in our feet that cascades all the way up the rest of your leg that helps push you forward. And if I spend a lot of time watching people move, most of us have lost that entirely. And so we're not able to move ourselves forward in a way that is using our feet to propel us along. And unfortunately, other parts of our body are doing all that work for us. And they don't need to, because our feet are there to do that for us. So our feet should be mobile, and they should be able to create propulsion and moving us forward. So we want to see if those things are happening in our feet, and if not, we want to reintroduce those. So first of all, we are going to assess what's going on in your feet. So just take a look at them. And what we're going to do is we're going to move everything above our feet and check out what happens with them. So ideally what we would like to see happen is when I bend my knees, I should have my arches drop down to the ground, and I should be able to see some rotation happening. So I should be able to see my toes going like this. In front of my knees, I should be able to see my toes going like this. And you can even watch your nails on your toenails and see if they're moving. And we should be able to see, so if I go from the side and just stagger so you can see, we should be able to see some movement in our feet when we bend our knees. And then when we straighten them again, we should see movement in the opposite direction. So we should be able to see movement in the joints in our feet. And if not, we're not going to be very responsive and stable and able to do what we need to do to keep upright on our feet. So we want to first check that out. So do we have movement when we bend our knees, or do they stay completely still? So if I keep my feet completely still, nothing happens in my feet when I bend my knees. And that's unfortunate. There's so much potential there. We want to be able to use it. The second is, when I fully straighten my knees, do I get my arches rising up? So if I go to the side, when I straighten my knees as much as I can, do my arches rise up? Do I get that movement in, if I look at the front of my ankles, do my ankles rotate out? Do I get that movement? So these two shapes are those two things I was talking about. That when we bend our knees, our feet are able to respond to the variable types of things underneath our feet. And then when we straighten our knees, we're able to create a shape that helps us push us forward. So this is the same shape that's being created when I straighten my knees. And that's a beautiful mechanism that helps us be more efficient with moving our bodies forward through space. So if your body isn't doing one of those two things, we want to start encouraging those things happening. So the first thing is, if we want to have more suppleness and ability for all of those joints to open under our feet, then we need something to help us do that. And I'm just using a tennis ball to do that. What I'm doing with the tennis ball is, it's not massage time. What I'm doing is using the ball to be able to open those joints and give them a new experience. So what I'm going to do is just put the ball underneath the ball of my foot, and I'm just going to put a tiny bit of weight into it and completely relax my foot over top. And what I'm doing is I'm creating some more shapes underneath my foot that my foot is not used to experiencing. So it's opening joints and closing other joints, and it's creating some new experiences underneath your foot. So all we're doing is just putting a little bit of our weight in there and completely relaxing your foot so that it can form itself through relaxation over top of the ball, and that will be opening up the joints and opening up the tissues. So we're going to put this in a whole bunch of different weird and wonderful configurations underneath our foot. So creating new shapes and new experiences and new ways of your joints opening and closing in different ways. And so I'll let you play around with those on your own, making sure you get the entire length of your foot, the inside, the outside, down near your heel, if I come forward, down near your heel with your knee bent in a whole bunch of different ways to get some experience for opening up the joints underneath your foot. And make sure you get both sides, both feet. And then what I want you to do is experience and see whether that opens up any more movement in your feet when you straighten or bend your knees. Just see if that gives you more suppleness and more experiences underneath your foot. So that's the first thing that we want to do. The second thing that we want to do is start getting some movement in our foot using the rotation of our body. So what I'm going to do is, we're going to put one foot in front of the other, just the length of a regular step, so it's not a big lunge or anything like that. And what I'm going to get you to do is bend that front knee and rotate your body all the way in towards the center. And as you do that, I want to see if we can get this arch to drop down and allow your knee to go inside of your big toe and then just come out of that. And what this does is, by rotating your whole body, it's asking your foot to create a shape that it's probably not used to doing. And I want you to completely relax your foot and allow it to go wherever it wants to go. So sometimes it can be really challenging just to simply let go and allow your foot to do this shape. So we're going to just let that completely go and create that shape in your foot. And now what I want to do is, after we've done that, we're going to put your foot at the front and we're going to rotate towards that, towards the opposite direction. And here what we want to do is see if this can encourage our arch to rise, and getting that arch to rise as we rotate in the opposite direction. So we can start off with rotating one way and dropping your arch, completely relaxing it, and then rotating in the other direction and straightening your knee and getting your arch to rise. So rotating towards the center and letting your knee bend, and then straightening your knee and rotating away. So we're twisting in one direction and then we're twisting in the other direction. And what you should happen, if you're in front of a mirror, you can see this. Here we're getting the arches to drop, all of those bones on the inside to open. And then as we go this way, we're getting the arches to rise. And we get your arches to drop, and then your arches to rise. And so of course you want to do that on the other side as well, so we're not completely unbalanced. And then you want to come back and check out what happens. So have we reprogrammed things? Have we taught your body some new things? When you bend your knees, does that allow your arches to drop? When you fully straighten your knees, do your arches rise back up again? So we want to be exploring and experiencing this and seeing if we can go through those movements and be able to wake up those unresponsive feet and have them do all the weird and wonderful things that they can do to help the rest of our body move around and be able to do the things we want to do. Being stable on our feet and being more efficient with our movement. So if these were useful for you, please like, so that I know that you like the video. I'll keep making some more like it, and YouTube will keep sharing them with people. Please subscribe to my channel so that you can see when new videos drop on my channel. And please share with anybody that you know who can use some foot TLC, anybody who has unresponsive feet. If you want to work with me and you're in Vancouver, you can find me at Tanumi Integrated Health. If you're not, I work worldwide through Zoom. You can find me at flowmovement.ca and we can set up an appointment. So thanks for watching the fourth video in the four series videos on foot function, and see you next time.